Prepare the Christmas gift carefully, Helen. Be sure the children do not see until this evening, when it is dressed. How much?
6 pence, ma'am.
There is a ceiling. Keep the change.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Is that my little log flittering up there?
Yes, it is.
Is it my squirrel bustling about?
Yes.
When did my squirrel come home?
Just now. Come here, Torvald, and see what I have bought.
Don't disturb me! Bob, did you say? These little things that have been waste of my money?
Yes, Torvald, but this year we can really get ourselves go a little. This is the first Christmas. We know you need to economize.
Still, don't you know? We can't waste money recklessly on this.
Yes, Torvald, we make a bit more reckless now. You are tiny, and you are going to have a big salary and a lot of money.
Yes, after the new year, but then it will be a whole quarter before the salary is due.
Oh, we can borrow until then.
Nora, the same little fatherhead. Suppose now that I borrowed 50 pounds today, and you spend it all in the Christmas week.
Shh, don't say such horrid things. And did you remember to invite Dr.Rank?
No, but there's no need. As a matter of course, he will come to dinner with us. However, I will ask him when he come in this morning. I have ordered some good wine. Nora, you can't think how I am looking forward to this evening.
So am I. And how the children will enjoy themselves, Torvald?
I think it is splendid to feel that one has a perfectly safe appointment and big enough income. It is delightful to think, isn't it?
It's wonderful.
A lady wants you, ma'am. It's a stranger.
Okay, ask her to come in.
And excuse me, Mr. Helmer. The doctor came at the same time, sir.
Did he go straight into my room?
Yes, sir. Welcome, ma'am. Please get in.
How do you do, Nora? How do you do? You don't recognize me, I suppose? No, I don't know. Yes. To be sure, I seem to. Yes. Christine, it is really you?
Yes, it is I.
Christine!
I read by Helmer this morning. You spent a whole year in Italy, didn't you?
Yes, it was easy matter to get away. I can tell you, it was just after Ivar was born, but naturally we had to go. It was wonderfully beautiful journey.
So, I should think
It cost about 250 pounds. Just a lot, isn't it?
yes, and in emergencies like that, it's lucky to have the money.
That is the bell. Perhaps I had better go.
No, don't go. No one will come here. It's be sure to be for Torvald.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes?
There is a gentleman to see the master.
Who is it?
It is I, Mrs. Helmer. Excuse me, ma'am.
Okay. You? What is it? What do you want to see my husband?
Bank business in the way. I have small post in the bank. I heard your husband to be our chief now.
Then it is?
Nothing but dry business matter. Mrs. Helmer, absolutely nothing else.
Be so good as to go into the study then.
Nora, who is this man?
A lawyer of the name of Krogstad.
Krogstad.
Linde.
Sorry, Daddy, I had to go. Got the business to work.
Okay.
No, my dear fellow, I won't disturb you, but I would rather go into your wife for a little while. I beg your pardon. I'm afraid that I'm disturbing you too.
No, not at all. Dr.Rank, this is Mrs.Linde.
Oh yeah, I have often heard Mrs. Linda's names mentioned here. I think I passed you on the stairs when I arrived. Is it right, Mrs. Linde?
Yes, I go up very slowly. I can manage stand well.
Ah, some slight, right? It's internal weakness.
No, the fact I have been overworking myself.
Okay, well, I think I have to go to my house because I have some business. And see you guys.
See you.
See you.
Well, Torvald there. Have you get rid of him?
Yes, he has just come.
Let me introduce you. This is Kristen, who has come to town.
Christine? Excuse me? But I don't know.
Mrs. Linde there. Kristen Linde.
Of course. A school friend of my wife, I presume.
Yes, we have known each other since then.
And just think, she has taken a long journey to order to see you. Are you going to Kristen?
Yes, I must go and look for a room. Please don't think of it. Goodbye, Nora, and many thanks.
Goodbye for the present, and thank you, Kristen. See you.
See you.
Have a good day.
Excuse me.
Excuse me, Mr. Helmer.
What do you want?
Excuse me? The other door was here. I forget someone to shut it.
Your husband is out, Mr. Krogstad.
I know that.
So what do you want here?
A word with you.
With me? Nurse?
Yes, ma'am.
My dear. Go with her.
I need to tell you something. I was in Olsen restaurant and I saw your husband going down the street
Yes, so
with a lady.
what then?
May I make so bold if I ask if it was Mrs. Linde?
It was?
Just arrived in town.
Yes, today.
Okay then. If I lost my position second time, you shall lost with me.
Mother, the stranger man has gone out through the gate.
Yes, dear, I know. But don't tell anyone about the stranger man. Do you hear?
No, mother, but will you come and play a game?
No, not now.
But mother, you promised us.
Yes, dear, but I cannot now. Run away? I have a lot of such to do.
Where shall I put this, ma'am?
Here in the floor, please?
Shall I get you anything else?
No, thank you. I have all I want.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Torvald?
Yes?
I'm looking forward tremendously to the fancy dress ball at the Starbucks the day after tomorrow.
And I'm tremendously curious to see what you're going to surprise me with.
It was very silly of me to want to that.
What do you mean?
I can't hit upon anything to do with, and I think it seemed to so silly.
Does my little Nora acknowledge that at last?
Are you very busy, Torvald?
Well,
What are all those papers?
bank business.
Okay, I have such a lot to do.
Well, me too. I must think about of your costume too.
No. It isn't. It's not true. It's impossible. It must be impossible.
The little ones are begging so hard to be allowed come into men.
No. Don't let them to come into me. You stay with them, Annie.
Very well, ma'am.
Okay.
Krogstad,
Excuse me?
it's absolutely necessary I should have a talk with you.
Really? And it is absolutely necessary that it shall be here.
Now, let us have a talk.
Can we two have nothing to talk about?
We have a great deal to talk about.
I thought so.
No, you have never properly understood me.
Well,
I have had a talk with him,
yes, I knew it.
but you must tell him.
I won't tell him.
Nora, what is this? This sad face.
Sit down. It will take some time. I have a lot to talk over with you.
You alarm me, Nora, and I don't understand you.
No, you don't understand me, and I have never understood you either before night. You must listen what I say.
What do you mean by that?
Isn't there one thing that's right? You are strange in our sitting here like this.
What is that?
We have been married now 8 years. You and I, wife and husband. We had have a serious conversation.
What do you mean by serious?
No, I'm not speaking about the business matters. I say that we have never sat down in earnest together and to try at the bottom of anything.
But, dearest Nora, will it have been any good to you?
There's just it. You've never understood me.
What? By us two? By us two? Who have loved you better than anyone else in this world?
No. You have not loved me.
Nora,
I must stand quite alone. If I understand myself and everything about me, it is for the reason that I cannot remind you.
Nora,
I'm going away from here now. I'm sure that Christine will take me for the night.
what sort of madness is this?
Tomorrow I shall go home.
You blind, you foolish woman. I love her.
Nothing. Torvald, the most wonderful thing would have to be happen.
What that will be? Tell me.
Goodbye, Torvald.
Nora. Empty. She's gone. The most wonderful thing of all.
A Library's Complaint by William Shakespeare. From a hero whose faith will reward it, a playful story for a ceasing fell. My spirits attend this double voice accorded, and down I lay to the least sad tune tell. Along his spite of wickle made full pell, tearing off papers, breaking rings at wane, storming her word with sorrow's wine and rind. Upon her head a plated heap of straw, which fortified her visage from the suns, whereon the top might think some tiny soul. The carcass of beauty spent and done, time had not skided all that yet begun. Nor yet are quiet, but spite of heathenish pilgrimage, some beauty peeped through ladies of serious age.
Cat Copin, A Story of an Hour. Knowing that Mrs. Mallard was affected with a heart trouble, great care was taken to break to her as gently as possible the news of her husband's death. It was her sister, Josephine, who told her, in a broken sentence, violet hints that revealed in half counseling. Her husband's friend Richard was there too, near her. It was he who had been in the newspaper office when intelligence of the railroad disaster was received, with Brandley Mallard's name leading the list of killed. He had only taken the time to assure himself of its truth by a second telegram, and had hastened to forestall any less careful, less tender friend in bearing the sad message. She did not hear the story as many women have heard the same, with a paralyzed inability to accept its significance. She wept at once with sudden, wild abandonment. In her sister's arms, when the storm of grief had spent itself, she went away to her room, alone. She would have no one follow her. There stood, facing the open window, a comfortable, roomy armchair. Into this she sank, pressed down by a physical exhaustion that haunted her body and seemed to reach into her soul. She could see in the open square before her house the tops of trees that were all aquiver with the new spring life. The delicious breath of rain was in the air. In the street below, a peddler was crying his wares. The notes of a distant song which someone was singing reached her faintly, and countless sparrows were twittering in the eaves. There were patches of blue sky showing here and there through the clouds that had met and piled one above the other in the west facing her window. She sat with her head thrown back upon the cushion of the chair, quite motionless, except when a sob came up into her throat and shook her, as a child who has cried itself to sleep continues to sob in its dreams. She was young, with a fair, calm face, whose lines bespoke reproachation and even certainly strength. But now there was a dull stare in her eyes, whose gaze was fixed away off yonder on one of those patches of blue sky. It was not a glance of reflection, but rather indicative of suspension of intelligence thought. There was something coming to her, and she was waiting for it, fearfully. What was it? She didn't know. It was too subtle and elusive to name. But she felt it creeping out of the sky, reaching toward her through the skin, the color that filled the air. Now her bosom rose and fell tumultuously. She was beginning to recognize this thing that was approaching to possess her, and she was trying to beat it back with her will, as powerless as her two white slender hands would have been. When she abandoned herself, a little whispering word escaped her slickly parted lips. She said it over and over under her breath, free, free, and free. The vacant stare and the and the look of terror that had followed it went from her eyes. They stayed, keen at breath. Her pulse beat fast, and the coursing blood warmed and relaxed every inch of her body. She did not stop to ask if it were or were not a monstrous joy that held her. A clear and exalted perception enabled her to dismiss the suggestion as a trifle. She knew that the world wept again when she saw the kind, tender hands followed in death, the face that had never looked save with love upon her, fixed and grey and dead. But she saw, beyond that bitter moment, a long procession of years to come that would belong to her absolutely, and she opened it and spread her arms out to them in welcome. There would be no one to live for during those coming years. She would live for herself. There would be no powerful will bending hers in that blind persistence with which men and women believe that they have a right to impose a private will upon a fellow creature. A kind attention or cruel attention made the act seem no less a crime, as she looked upon it in that brief moment of illumination. And yet she had loved him sometimes. Often she had not. What did it matter? What could love, the unsolved mystery, confer in the face of this position of self-assertion, which she suddenly recognized as the strongest impulse of her being? Free body and free soul. She kept whispering. Jasmine was kneeling before the closed door with her lips to the keyhole, imploring for admission. "Louis, open the door. Beg, open the door. You will make yourself ill." "What are you doing, Louis? For heavens, shake open the door. Go away." "I'm not making myself ill." No, she was drinking in every elixir of life through that open window. Her fancy was running out right along those days ahead of her. Spring days and summer days and all short of days would be her own. She breathed a quick prayer that life might be long. It was only yesterday she had thought with a shudder that life might be long. She arose at length and opened the door to her sister's importunities. There was a feverish tremor in her eyes, and she carried herself unwittingly like a goddess of victory. She clasped her sister's waist, and together they descended the stairs. Richard stood waiting for them at the bottom. Someone was opening the front door with a latchkey. It was Brindley Mallard, who entered a little travel sedan, combatively carrying his grip, shake, and umbrella. He had been far from the scene of the accident, and did not even know there had been one. He stood amazed at Josephine's piercing cry, at Richard's quick motion to screen him from the view of his wife. When the doctor came, they said she had died of her disease, of the joy that kills. Thank you.